your gut health is at the center of how your body functions. Joining us now is longevity dietitian, gut health expert, and the author of Healthy Cooking for High Performers, Ella DeVar, with how to start your body reset and achieve optimal gut health. Welcome, Ella. It's always such a pleasure to see you.
Likewise, Gail.
So a lot of people don't realize that the gut is really the epicenter of all things health.
Most of us take it for granted. Let's face it, when we enjoy a bite of cake in our mouth, we forget about it as soon as we swallow it, right? Until we see it in the toilet bowl and we can't recognize it. We don't think about it. Most of us don't think about gut health as something that we need to be concerned about. It's taking care of itself on its own, but the truth is our lifestyle hugely affects our gut health, and our gut health, as you said, is the center of our well-being. It affects our immune system, it affects our skin, it affects our energy levels, and even allergy and autoimmunity.
So what are some of the key factors for optimal gut health?
I know it's a trendy word these days, gut health, but what I like to break down to people is really what do we mean? What makes an optimal gut health? And there's 5 different factors. Number 1, digestion. We all know as soon as we experience indigestion, it's like, oh, something's wrong with my belly, with my gut. Yes, our digestion is our main responsibility of the gut, and it depends on optimal levels of enzymes, of bile, and that is hugely affected by our lifestyle, specifically stress. Genetics, yes, and also the overgrowth of bad bacteria. It could prevent us from having an optimal digestion. And then there's also inflammation, and inflammation is really of the actual organ, of the lining of the gut. And there are ways to measure it, you know, and eating anti-inflammatory foods could really help us to prevent it or lower it if it's an acute syndrome. And then there are infections. A lot of things that people don't talk about, infections like parasitic infections or overgrowth of yeast and bacteria or fungi. And then there's also microbiome. Trendy word these days, and really what makes up the microbiome, the bad bacteria, the good bacteria, and the balance in between the two, because the bad bacteria are thriving on sugar, alcohol, and all the delicious things, and if we don't feed the bad bacteria, they outplay the good ones, and that's when we start having issues like fatigue or low energy or hair issues or skin issues and things like that.
So I think it's interesting because you and I were talking, because gearing up, we're doing a big special with you today and having lots of segments with you today, but you and I were talking about how you don't just blindly treat people. You actually put them through different tests. You decide, are they going to have a stool test, a blood test, so you know exactly what you're dealing with.
Yeah, so general nutrition recommendations are not sufficient sometimes. People like me who eat healthy, exercise, and do the right things, but still find themselves with nagging symptoms such as stubborn acne, inability to lose weight, or waking up feeling tired or having a low immune system. So what I do is I really try to help those people with bio-individuality and personalized nutrition. So I do testing. Number 1, we do food sensitivities and intolerance to see what might be triggering the chronic inflammation and lowering their immune system and creating fatigue. And that's not enough to just tell a person, like, don't eat these things and eat the rest. That could be very limiting. What we do is we really test for gut health to see how we can improve oral tolerance by improving the gut microbiome, addressing those infections, improving the digestion, and overall microbial makeup.
I want to rewind just a little bit because you talked about food sensitivities, and I think a lot of people, when they think of food allergies, it's going to show up in a rash, or maybe you get sick. But food sensitivities, you may not know you even have them because they present in such different ways.
And they also have delayed onset of reactions. When you have a food allergy, you know right away, because it's an immediate onset of symptoms, that you have a skin rash or anaphylactic symptom. Or when it comes to food sensitivities and intolerances, they're much more delayed. The symptoms can show up 24 to 48 hours later after you ingest the food. And if you eat certain things every day, you may never pinpoint those. So that's what the difference is. The delayed onset of symptoms, and like you said, some of the symptoms might not be as obvious, such as fatigue or sluggishness or excessive mucus or skin issues or irritations on the skin.
Yeah, because most people think, oh, my stomach is upset, or oh, I'm gassy.
Heartburn, bloating. Most people live their whole life like that.
And they don't have to.
Yes, they don't have to. There's definitely something that's called an optimal gut health that can improve digestion, your overall digestive health, as well as your energy levels, your skin health, and